Welcome to the Rob Berger Show. I am excited to launch a new series. It's been highly requested actually for a couple of years through the podcast. And it's a Morningstar user's guide. We're going to walk through over what will actually be probably a couple of dozen videos when it's done. Really everything you need to know about using and taking the most advantage, getting the most advantage out of Morningstar. And we're going to start in this video with an overview. Morningstar was founded in 1984, before the internet as we know it, by Joe Mansueto. I think he started it, the story is he started it in his apartment in Chicago with about $80,000. I don't know if that's true or not, but he started it in the mid-'80s. Today it's a publicly traded company, trades under the ticker MORN. I think it went public, I want to say in 2005. And it's actually not, there are tools that we're going to go through that are designed for folks like you and me, individual investors. But that's actually not the core of its business. Last year it did about 1.2 billion, with a B, billion dollars in revenue. By my best calculations, in terms of individual investors who pay for the premium version of Morningstar, which we'll talk about, they only made about 20 to 25 million. Again, that's based on my calculations from their annual report. So it's a relatively small portion of Morningstar's business. And in fact, I can show you a lot of their tools here. And many of these, even if you've used Morningstar for a long time, you've probably never heard of. And the reason is that these tools are not designed for individual retail investors. They're designed for professional money managers and investment advisors. And some of these tools can cost you tens of thousands of dollars a year. So very expensive. Now, the good news is they've made a lot of their data available for free to individual investors like you and me. And their premium version, which we'll talk about in a minute, is only $199. So that's the good news. Now, there is some bad news in that, and I kind of want to get that out of the way to begin with. Because their business isn't really driven by revenue from individual investors, they don't always give the tools and data that they make available to individual investors the attention that they deserve. And it comes through in a couple of different ways. First of all, customer service can be hit or miss. It can take a couple of days to get a response, and sometimes the response is, on point, but many times in my experience, it's not. The second thing is that a year ago, they made some substantial changes to their website. The website you see here today launched in, I want to say, July of 2019. Let me show you what the old site looked like. It's actually still available. Here is the old website, and we're looking specifically at a Vanguard mutual fund. But it looks a lot different than today. If we go to this same fund, VFIAX, and I'll pull it up here. You can see it looks a lot different, and I think most would probably say the new version looks a lot better. The old version looks like it was out of the 1990s, and the new version, just they've updated a bit, and that's good. But there are some downsides to it. First of all, they took away a lot of the tools and data that were available in the old version of the site. One example would be after-tax returns of mutual funds, which I thought was a very helpful data point to have. They don't make that available in the new site. Now, there are ways to get at that information, and we will cover that when we get to it in the series. So that's the good news. We can still get back to, obviously, this old version as I'm showing it to you now, but it takes a little bit of work. But no worries, I will walk through that in videos to come. But the second sort of downside is that they haven't yet updated the user guide. This is the premium user guide, and I'll make it a little bigger here. And if we scroll through it, you can see that it still is based on the old version of the site. Here's an example. this is how the site used to look. And I actually reached out to Morningstar support thinking, well, maybe there's an updated guide, and I just couldn't find it. And they got back to me after a couple of days and said, nope, it's been almost a year and we've still not updated the user guide. So that's the downside. But I guess the good news is you'll have these videos for your user guide. And I've done the hard work of figuring out where everything is. They've moved things around. Sometimes things are hard to find. Sometimes they're not there at all, like the after-tax returns of mutual funds. But then even then, I've sort of figured out where you can still get that information, at least for the time being. So I did want to kind of mention the downside. There are some hurdles to clear with Morningstar, but I do think it's worth the effort. And it's, again, one of the reasons that I'm doing this series called the Morningstar User Guide. Maybe Morningstar will use some of it on their website in the future. We'll see. So we're going to divide these videos into 4 parts. The first part is going to be simply understanding the data. For example, again, looking at this page, Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. What in the world does all of this data mean? And that's going to be the first part of this series. It'll be a number of videos, and we're going to focus primarily on mutual funds, but we'll also look at ETFs because the data is a little different, and we'll also look at individual stocks. For those of you that like to invest in individual stocks, as I do to a point, we'll be looking at that and the data that you can get from each of those types of investments. That'll be part 1. Part 2 then is going to be that's great, we have all this data, but how do we actually use it to make important investing decisions? And that really involves a couple of things. First, it's figuring out, of all of the data you get from Morningstar, what pieces of it are really important, and maybe there's some data we don't really need to worry about. So we want to separate the signal from the noise, as folks like to say. What really matters? And then once we know that, how do we actually use it? How do we use it to pick a mutual fund in our 401k at work? Or maybe we're considering 2 mutual funds. How can we use this data to compare those 2 options? So we'll be looking at that in part 2. And then part 3 is actually closely related. We're going to be looking at the portfolio manager in Morningstar, and I'll show it to you here. This is actually a portfolio I created just for this video. You can see it. I almost got it to total $1 million, not quite. It's implementing what's called the 3-fund portfolio. Don't worry if that's a term you're not familiar with, but it's just basically an investment portfolio built from 3 mutual funds. One covers the US market, one covers the international market, both equities, and then one covers the bond market. So in part 3, I'll be walking through this portfolio manager, how to set up your own portfolio, how to add new holdings, and then the different ways you can then look at all of the data, including a tool that I think Morningstar is somewhat well known for, and you can see it here. It's called X-ray. And we'll take a look at how you can X-ray your portfolio and what that looks like and what all of this data means. So that will be part 3. And then part 4 will be tools. Morningstar offers a lot of tools, including fund and stock screeners and different ways to evaluate maybe an IRA. And so we'll be going over a number of those in part 4. And so that's the plan, and that's what we're going to do. Now, to finish out this brief overview video, I want to talk about some things that you want to keep in mind that are important as we move through the series. The first is the membership options. And for individual investors like you and me, there's basically 2. At a minimum, you'll want the Morningstar Basic membership you see on the right. It's free, you just have to register. You need to do that, though, for example, to create and monitor your portfolio in the portfolio manager when we come to it. If you want the premium version, as you can see at the time of recording this video, it's $199. And this shows you what you get for it. We'll be walking through all of these things over the course of the video series. I will tell you that you don't really need the premium membership for purposes of this video series. Yes, I'll be looking at some things like the Portfolio X-ray tool that's only available to premium members, but you'll see it as we go through the video series, and then you can decide for yourself if it's worth the cost to you. I do think the vast majority, certainly of the data that we'll be looking at, you can get with a free membership. So, but you do have those options, and that's the first thing. At a minimum, you want to sign up for the basic Morningstar membership, so you can use things like the Portfolio Manager when we get to it. Now, there is another page that actually lists out the benefits that you get as a premium member. By the way, all of the links that I'm showing you here, I'll include below the video on either Facebook or YouTube. And if you happen to be listening to this via the podcast, you can check out the video, which will be really important in these videos because I'm going to be walking through the website. Just go to robberger.com/YouTube. That will take you to the YouTube page, and I'm going to have this Morningstar user guide set up as a playlist, so it'll be easy to find. But this page shows you some of the things that are available to premium members, and they divide it between find, meaning finding investments, evaluating those investments, and then monitoring them, which is primarily the Portfolio Manager. Two more things briefly that I think you should focus on, or at least have at handy. The first is this page. Again, links will be below the video. That you see, it's called Snapshot. That's actually named after the old, actually it may even still be in the new one. Let me just double check. It is. So it's named after the Portfolio Manager or Monitor. And you can see they have a snapshot that gives you a snapshot of your portfolio. This gives you all the definitions that could be relevant inside the Portfolio Manager. And some of them may actually surprise you. I'll give you an example. If you want to know when they talk about having a bond mutual fund, what does that mean? Well, you can see it here. It means it's a fund with 80% or more of their assets invested in bonds, which means that the fund doesn't have to have 100% invested in bonds. It could have up to 20% in equities, and Morningstar would still classify it as a bond fund. And another example where the data and the definitions can be helpful is, here we go, and what's an international stock fund? Here it's a stock fund that has invested 40% or more of their equity holdings in foreign stocks. 40% doesn't seem like a lot to call it an international fund, but that's how Morningstar does it. And so this page with key definitions can be helpful as you're working through Morningstar on your own and you see a term they use and you're not sure exactly how they mean it. You can check out this page. And then similarly, you can use their glossary, which is here. And it has even more terms. And you can obviously search for them. And we'll be using this from time to time as we move through the series, but I wanted to point out those two resources for you so you had them ready and could even use them on your own. Now, the last thing I want to show you in this overview video, and I'm going to go back to the home page, is a tool that really is going to become your friend as we work through this video, probably the most important one, and it's this search box at the top. This really is the door through which you'll find a lot of the things that you need on Morningstar. And let me just give you a couple of examples. Let's imagine you're wanting to evaluate a mutual fund in your 401k and you know the ticker symbol. Well, you can put the ticker symbol in here, and I'm going to use a Vanguard fund as an example. The S&P 500 index fund at Vanguard. It's VFIAX, and as you can see, it's got the fund here. If we click on that link, it takes us to their what they call their quote page, showing you data about this fund. Now, in some cases, you may not know the ticker. You know it's a Vanguard 500 index fund. You're not really sure what the ticker is. Well, you can just type in the name, and you'll get several different ones. In this case, I've typed it in exactly, and so I get the same fund, and can actually, this is the investor version of this fund. Here's the Admiral version. No need to worry about the difference. We can talk about those later. But that's one way to find a fund. And some might even do S&P 500. And that brings up the ETF version. But you can then also just click and see all of Morningstar's results for that search term and likely find the fund that you're looking for. Now, in addition, as I mentioned, Morningstar has a lot of tools, and frankly, with the new website, they're incredibly difficult to find. So there are two searches that you can do to find a lot of them. The first one is simply screener. And it brings up the ETF screener, but we can actually look at all of the results, and you'll see they have an ETF screener, premium stock screener, basic stock screener, and it goes on down the list. They have a stock compare tool that I think is fairly popular, as well as a fund compare tool. So the searching for the term screener will get you a lot of the tools. And then, of course, just searching for tools, and I come down to see all of the results, you'll see a lot of the similar ones, but some other ones like the IRA calculator and so forth. As I mentioned, one of the popular tools is their X-ray tool. It took me some time to find it. At first, I just typed it like this with a space, and it didn't bring up anything. So then I thought, well, maybe they just did it as one word. Well, that turns out to bring up a company because their ticker happens to be X-ray. So I finally was smart enough to put a hyphen in X-ray, and it brings it up. But it can be confusing because it brings up this version of their X-ray tool. This is the free version, and you can, as you can see, you could put in some ticker symbols and the values and get some information from their X-ray tool. But this is different than, let me go to, I'll go back to my portfolio. Again, this is the portfolio I put together just for this video. This tool is different than the X-ray you see here, which immediately brings up all of this information based on the portfolio you've entered into Morningstar. So again, you can tell I've spent more time than I care to think about figuring out how to navigate all of this. And again, when we get to the X-ray tool, no worries, I'll be walking through it. Now, if we go back to where we started, and I'll use VFIAX as our example, it brings us to information about this mutual fund. This is where we're going to begin in video number 2 in this series. We're actually going to walk through the data that's on this first page. They call it quote, and what it means, and both primarily for mutual funds, but then we'll also look at this similar page for an ETF and then for a stock of an individual company. And then in subsequent videos, we're going to walk through the different tabs, as you can see here, and walk through what all of the data that Morningstar gives you, what it means. So I hope you enjoy the series. As always, you can shoot me an email with questions or comments or topics you'd like me to cover, rob@robberger.com. And of course, please leave comments below the video. I do monitor them and will respond to them as always. Looking forward to this series. Hope you are too. Until next time, remember, the best thing money can buy is financial freedom.